Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video, and this is a paid request from Movie Guy 2005. Thank you so much for that. For those interested in requesting any type of videos, reviews, re-reviews, tier list rankings, topics, video game playthroughs, whatever the case may be, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal. I do have a CashApp as well. Links are down below in the info box, and I will get to it as soon as I possibly can. For those who sent them, thank you. I do appreciate your kindness and your patience. Thank you so much for that. So this is an interesting thing. I don't know if there'll be any more requests like this where they're going to the 90s or 2000s or even the 1970s, anything of that nature. But this topic was, what was the single worst film for each year of the 1980s? And I had to think about that for a bit because that's interesting. Like, just to pick one film from each year. And the 1980s is one of my favorite decades. And there's tons of fantastic movies in the 80s. Sorry, Quentin Tarantino. The 80s was not one of the worst decades for movies. Not even close, okay? That's just, his opinion and my opinion. But to get into it, 1980, where you had a lot of great films like The Shining and The Fog. I think The Changeling was that year. I mean, there's a lot of great movies. And that was just some horror. But the worst film for 1980 to me, I have to put The Alien Dead. One of the posters is a complete rip-off of The Evil Dead. Which I think technically that was around 79, The Evil Dead. But then it got kind of out there for other people to see in 82. Or maybe The Alien Dead, maybe it was one of those like re-releases they did on VHS. I know there was a cover of The Alien Dead that was a complete rip-off of... The Alien Dead ripped off The Evil Dead in one of those releases, where it was like a hand coming out and grabbing the person, but then The Alien Dead. Fuck this movie, okay? It was more interesting to talk about the title than the goddamn movie. Fred Olen Ray is a horrible filmmaker. He'd be in my top 10 worst directors of all time, along with Neil Breen, Giuseppe Andrews, and a few others. Fred Olen Ray's up there. I'm trying to remember if he did Deep Space. I think he did that with Charles Napier. If so, that's the only Fred Olen Ray film I've ever seen that I liked in any amount. And The Alien Dead is a very boring, tedious, slow slog of a movie where it's, redneck people and redneck sheriff, and there's the zombies, the alien dead, but cheap production value, terrible editing. Buster Crabbe, who was the Flash Gordon from way, way back in the day, they got him out to give him a quick paycheck and do a few scenes as, I think he was the sheriff, because that was their bitch. I mean, no disrespect to Buster Crabbe, but if that's your selling point in 1980, is Buster Crabbe, you ain't selling shit. Shit nor shinola. And again, it's no disrespect to Buster Crabbe. Bust a cap in your ass if you think anybody's going to watch your fucking film, because Buster Crabbe's in it. People like the Flash Gordon, the original, they're not going to give a shit about a film called The Alien Dead. Horribly made, crappy, cheap-ass fuck of a film. And some of these I'm not going to remember much of, because a lot of films you watch that are bad, you want to put in the rearview mirror and not fucking remember them. And I'm trying to think what the... Maybe if I don't know. Number 2, or 1981 I should say. I had to look about this for a bit, think about it. And I would say probably the worst film I saw of 1981 would be Inseminoid. What is Inseminoid? a very run-of-the-mill, lackluster rip-off of Alien. Where if you look at the poster, it kind of tells you the whole thing. Inseminoid. A woman gets fucked by an alien, has an alien baby, goes around, kills people. People do some completely stupid, dumb, idiotic shit. They get what they deserve. Pretty much everybody gets what they fucking deserve. From what I remember, even I think it had a downer ending as well. I love Alien. I love Aliens. There are plenty of films that ripped it off that I like. The Terror Within, Leviathan, Galaxy of Terror. Although that was some call a ripoff of Alien. I think it has its own originality of it, but some people call that. Even Forbidden World, I think that was the Roger Corman production. I could watch that. If it's done fun enough, goofy enough, or entertaining enough, I could be entertained by that. But what's bad, it just really annoys the fuck out of me. Because I'm sitting there going, I'll just watch the ones I actually do like, instead of this waste of fucking time, like Inseminoid. Inseminate some semen to your ass. Fuck Inseminoid. 1982, Unhinged. I believe in the UK where you had the video nasty stuff, this might have gotten on the list, but they didn't watch the film. Because there ain't nothing in the movie to be upset about, except how shitty it is, how fucking boring it is. If you want to see 3 students, 3 ladies, 3 hoes, jaw-jacking, talking, jaw-jacking some more, I think that's the film. I could be wrong. If I am, apologies. Just I get that confused with I can't remember. Mother's Day, because that was also about some women that go on a road trip. But one of them, they tell the story about this guy on a football field and him being left as a prank or something like that. I can't remember which film it was that did that. But I know these women like talk and talk and talk and talk until they get in a crash. Then they go to this house and there's a mom and a daughter, and spoiler, the reveal is that the daughter's not really a daughter, it's a son, which honestly you could kind of tell wasn't a huge surprise. Somebody's trying to have kind of like a psycho twist, but not really, and that a whole lot of nothing happens, and there's barely any blood, there's barely any gore. It's just 3 women jaw-jacking, talking, and bitching for a good chunk of the movie. No wonder people, Unhinged is good for the audience, as in a good way to describe them. Because if you watch this movie, you'd be unhinged too, and want your money back. 1983, I put Mountaintop Motel Massacre. The name tells you how shitty it is. Mountaintop Motel Massacre. It just sounds stupid. And it's just some old hag, some old lady, getting people into her motel. She has this tunnel system that she'll walk around and kill some people in a motel, and it goes on from there. The characters are idiotic. You don't give a shit about anybody. I don't buy this lady killing all these people. It's fucking grandma. I don't buy, all these people getting killed by grandma. And you don't really have much in terms of kills. I mean, hell, the whole motel and there's a tunnel system. I'm not big on this film, but I would even say Vacancy is better than this movie. Or even Vacancy 2. I would put over this movie. I mean, just because it's a slasher from the 80s doesn't automatically make it a good movie. Mountaintop Motel Massacre. Number 84, year 84, the worst film that year was Black Devil Doll from Hell. That is done cheap upon cheap upon cheap. It's like someone took an old ass camcorder, just decided to make a film where a woman buys a doll, and the doll is just the woman who buys it is black, and then the doll is black, but then just saying, "Hey bitch, come on bitch, something you know, bitch, come on get up bitch, stop being lazy bitch." That's what the doll does for most of it. Come on bitch, or making her feel good and like giving her an orgasm and all this other stupid shit. I mean, the doll. I mean, if you want to see a kill a doll movie, go watch Child's Play, or 2, or 3. Yes, I hate Megan and Megan 2.0, but they're better than Black Devil Doll from Hell. Maybe some people will enjoy it as so bad as good. Yeah, sometimes with a doll, like trying to talk, like, come on, bitch, you know, just it's kind of funny, but that little goes a long way, and it gets tiresome, and it's all real quick, and you just want it to be fucking over. 1985, the worst film I saw is a film that honestly I can't describe because I completely forgot about it. Horror House on Highway 5. Where the cover is a complete ripoff of the 1982 or so film Alone in the Dark. They completely ripped that cover off. And that's one of those films that, God forbid, I cannot remember. And I want to see some real quick. Sorry. I know, but I just thought of this, and I want to see. So, I did review this. I was going to say 35 years ago. 11 years ago for 35 minutes, but I don't remember what the fuck I said. But Dustin, that's what I wanted to mention. There was a guy on here, a very nice guy named Dustin Keckler, which he used to do videos. Keckler as in Keckler. And he was a very nice guy. He would upload videos, he would upload reviews, and he was nice enough to send me movies. He was nice enough to send me movies, and he actually sent me these movies, or at least this one, which I sadly can't find. But then he disappeared. I have no idea what happened to him, but as I looked here in his favorites list, he favorited a video from a year ago. And I haven't heard of this guy for 6-7 years. So Dustin Keckler, if somehow, some way you see this, say hi, dude. I want to know how you're doing. How's it going? You don't have to get in the details because he deleted all his videos that he ever made. But he's obviously still around because he favorites videos from a year ago. Let me know how's it going, Dustin, please. He was a cool guy. He was nice. I still, that's why I wanted to give him a shout out. That was nice of him. I'm not sure how he felt about it because I think he had reviewed it, and I wanted to, This is not looked at as a good movie. I think someone wears a Richard Nixon mask. There's this woman who goes, "You can't be dead. You can't be alive." I think Venator Syndrome released this, so of course it probably was shitty. But it's one of those films that I just remember being dumbfounded, but I would literally have to rewatch my review to know what the fuck happened. So, hey, fine, You can watch the review, unless someone wants to send me to request to re-review it, and go from there. But I'm sure you can find the movie to watch. And Horror House on Highway 5. I mean, the title kind of tells you it's shitty too. But yeah, Dustin, if you're out there, hey, let us know how you're doing, man. 1986, the worst film I saw that year was The Star Crystal. Or at least the one that came out that year. I talked about this with the guys at Dead Pit. And they're like, oh, that sounds interesting. I'm like, okay, maybe one day we'll watch it then together. But the movie is, how do I describe The Star Crystal? One of the posters has this creature with razor sharp teeth and these people in like these life pods. The pods that you see in Aliens, you know, when they're going to sleep. The movie's nothing like that at all. There's no creature like that in the movie. It is a ripoff of Alien to a point, but the first half is this alien orange, looks like a booger, this goober. It looks like an orange booger. Like, not quite a snail, but just orange booger. It goes and kills people, mostly from point of view and people screaming and stuff. So it kills enough people, and then it goes and finds a computer. On the computer is the Bible. And he reads through the Bible. I guess the point is that from seeing and reading that and understanding, and now has a bit of a conscience, and then feels bad. It only killed in self-defense. It killed because it didn't want to die. I thought you were going to hurt me. So it killed most of the crew, and there's like 2 people left, and he now can talk. And he now apologizes and says, oh, I'm sorry I killed your crew. And then they forgive him pretty quickly and easily, considering he still killed most of your friends. Fix his ship, send him out, and then there's a song at the end as they're saying goodbye to the alien, and they fix his ship and they send him off his way. Crystal of a star, like crystal of a star, know where you are. It's sung by someone from the Scooby-Doo cartoon. Either the girl that voiced Daphne or the girl that voiced Velma. I keep thinking it's the girl who voiced Daphne and the old Scooby-Doo sang that song at the end. I remember like a first time viewing, it might still be up. Let me double check. Although, I mean, I probably wouldn't. Is it still up? Yes. It is still up. Which I've had a few people say that's like one of their favorite rants I ever did was the Star Crystal. Because a lot of times, I think that's the one where I would like stop, like I'm watching the film, then I would stop and go, you see this shit? Then I'm watching more, and then I stop, you see this shit? Then I just edit it all together. So it was like a running commentary, but it was a review as well. And it was just so fucking dumbfounding. And was it funded by the church? I don't know. But yeah. So the Bible reached into the soul of an alien and redeemed it so it won't kill no more and ask for forgiveness. So the alien became a Jehovah's Witness. That's the best way to describe it. The alien becomes a Jehovah's... an orange booger becomes a Jehovah's Witness. So he became Christopman. I don't know what to tell you, man. That's Star Crystal. So 1987, Newty, worst film easily that year. I've done a review of the film. I've done a commentary of the film. Without a doubt, one of the worst films of all time. I've ever seen one of the worst films of the 80s. It doesn't make a lick of sense. Because apparently, I didn't find this out till later, this was a film that was made, but some people said that some stuff seemed a bit too racist. So I guess let's get the more, hashtag release the racist cut of Newty, I guess. And then they went back and refilmed a bunch of stuff, and that's why chunks of the film doesn't make sense. So I'm guessing Steve Railsback was part of the original shoot, and I'm guessing they could not get him back, and that's why his character seemed like he would be the lead, but he disappears for good chunks of the film, and it seems like his scenes were rearranged. Like there's a portion where he's on a phone, wearing the same clothes, the same pose, but the way it's edited, it's like his character is doing that on different days that are like weeks apart. It's like, oh no, that was probably in the original cut, all part of the same beginning portion, the same day. And apparently the original cut, they said it was just too boring. There was barely any alien in it. Like, where's the alien? And I guess it was too much of, I'm guessing, Steve Railsback and the woman and the missionary in Africa and what's going on with that. I'm guessing more of the film was about that. Because that would be cheaper. But yeah, it just haphazardly take the original footage and then whatever footage they shot and then fit it together like a puzzle, and it didn't fit. The one alien wants to fly to America to find his brother, and he acts as if he can't fly. But then he can fly to make these kids feel better by shooting fucking fireworks. But then he needs a helicopter at one point to fly. But then another point, he just fly around. And then the kid at the end wishes for things to be better. Because for some reason that works. And then there's his brother and Newty and the others. Or like his brother and the family are there and Newty's alive. And then Steve Railsback flies down. And then there's Newty's brother. But we never saw Steve Railsback get there and get that brother out of this facility he was stuck in. You would seem that would be like a pretty fucking important plot point. The animals, some of them talk English to Newty and some don't, and I don't fucking know. Nobody knows. I would have been very curious to see what that original cut of it was, just to make more sense of the movie. I'm sure it's still just as terrible, but just to make more sense of the movie. But it's a fucking awful film. 1988, the worst film of that year for me, The Telephone, Whoopi Goldberg, nee. A story that probably works better as a play than it does a movie. It all takes place in one room, one apartment, and Whoopi Goldberg, most of the film is her on a phone, calling people, talking, and trying to do like skits, stand-up acts, only none of it is really funny. And she comes off as a very annoying, unlikable character. The neighbor's telling her to be quiet because she's yelling, and Whoopi's like, "No, Dad, come on, blah, blah, blah." And then trying to pretend to be all these characters. Like she's talking to different people, but it's her doing the voices, while this woman on the other end is getting more and more mad. Her pretending to be an Asian cooking host. Nee. First we're going to do this and go that. Then we're cooking like this. Nee. It's just a very unfunny skit that goes on for way too long. And then I think Whoopi Goldberg thought this was going to be some kind of. I know this don't sound funny. I think Whoopi Goldberg thought when she looked at the idea for this film, this would get her some awards. I do. I would bet money that she saw this script or this idea and said, this will show people that I could do more than comedy, because I'll do like dramatic portions, psychological breakdowns, and this will give me an award of some sort, or critical praise, critical notice, and go to different avenues. It didn't, because it didn't work. Now, whether you want to say because Whoopi Goldberg wasn't capable of doing that, which is ironic because she won an Oscar years later for Ghost, which I like that movie and I liked her performance in that. But irritating, annoying, boring. And then the movie ends with, I think it's James Belushi, I think. So, I can't remember who it is now. Is it him? Why don't I just look it up? Take me a minute. I know it's annoying for me typing like this, but I just want to give my John Hurd. Oh, I'm thinking of fucking Jumpin' Jack Flash. Belushi was in that, which I love. Jumpin' Jack Flash. That's what I was thinking of Belushi. He was in that film. But John Hurd, the dad from Home Alone, he was in the film Chud. He's the guy, the telephone man. And come to find out that the phone never worked to begin with. The phone never worked to begin with, and, well, she's crazy. She needs it because it's her way to, I guess, shut herself off from the world because she got dumped by this guy or even lost her job and all this other stuff, and it's the only thing she could deal with. Can't deal with reality, so the phone's been off the hook. So she hasn't been talking to anybody this entire time. So she's completely Looney Tunes, and she kills John Hurd. And he's like, "You killed me over a fucking phone." And then she calls the police. I just pretty much wait until someone obviously going to look for that telephone man and something, and there you go from there. But yeah, just unfunny movie with just a stupid fucking ending. And then 1989, easily the worst film of that year, is Things. Things is hard to describe. Things is one of the most incompetent, poorly made, poorly thought out movies of all time. Once again, very, very cheap. Looks, you're shot on video, shot on shitio. Amateur acting is putting it lightly. Go to a cabin and they kind of mess around the cabin for a long time. I think one of the scenes is someone, as a joke, puts a bud in one of the guy's sandwiches and all this other stupid shit. And then there's bits like this woman at the beginning is naked or someone and kills a guy, I think, or whatever the fuck, her titties are out. I'll sometimes go to a news program where I think one of the people talking is a porn star, which they hired just to, for whatever. And then these creatures are very cheap looking, and as the movie goes on, it feels like they had less and less budget because the editing gets more schizophrenic. The frames start dropping left and right, like a goddamn beginning of Saving Private Ryan. Your body's hitting the floor, here frames are hitting the floor. Just dropping like flies. And it's like the movie is decomposing as you watch it. Like, just, this scene, then this scene, then this scene, and this scene, and you don't really get the environment. And then this person disappears, then he reappears, but then he's a skeleton, but then he's a skeleton who's for some reason somehow talking to the character. And then this person comes in and says, "You're crazy, and you killed all these people." He's like, "No, I'm not. I'm not crazy. No, you are crazy, and these are all people, and you lost your mind." And then you're supposed to think, "Oh, maybe that's the case," but then this guy dies, and then he's made it. The lead guy's made it, but then there's a creature there, and he turns, and then you hear noise, and maybe he got eaten, and why should I give a fuck? I don't know how long, how many times, how many takes they did to make this film, but it was too many. Too many things. I dare anyone to try to make sense of this movie. I would love to meet someone who's sincerely a fan of this movie. Not maybe if you laugh at it, but if someone's an actually sincere fan of this movie, I'd love to meet them. Like, I'm a fan of the Ice Cube War of the Worlds movie. See, my mouth didn't even want to admit that. But that's because I thought it was, like, funny. It was so entertainingly bad, I laughed and had a good time. If that's how they feel about, hell, any of these movies, okay. But if they sincerely like it and not in that fashion, I'd be very curious. Very curious to know why. But yeah, that's my list. So The Alien Dead, Inseminoid, Unhinged, Mountain Top Motel Massacre, Black Devil Doll from Hell, Horror House on Highway 5, The Star Crystal, Newty, The Telephone, and Things. I didn't realize this. Most of these are horror movies. Yeah, I mean, Newty might as well be a horror movie, but that's a family film. Telephone's a comedy. Star Crystal, it's horror, but then it becomes like just sci-fi. But yeah, go figure. No action films on the list. Because are there bad action films in the 80s? I mean, there's bad action films every year, but I mean, there's a lot of good ones in the 80s. Are there bad ones? Yes, there are bad ones, but none that made the worst film of that year. So, that'd be interesting for people out there to do. Go through each year and what's the worst film of each year to you. Thanks for watching. Take care. Feel free to jot down your thoughts down below. And thanks once again, Movie Guy 2005. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye for now.